Imagine spending a night under the stars in a beautiful national forest, enjoying quality time with your sibling. But for one college freshman and her older sister, a 1994 camping trip turned into a horrific nightmare that would change their lives forever. Loran Cole, a 57-year-old Florida man, was convicted of murdering the 18-year-old freshman and raping her sister while they camped in the Ocala National Forest. Just recently, Cole's life came to an end after receiving a lethal injection at Florida State Prison. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the events leading up to this tragic crime and its aftermath. On a fateful night in 1994, Loran Cole and his friend William Paul befriended the two college students in the Ocala National Forest. After gaining their trust, they offered to take the siblings to see a nearby pond. But as soon as they were away from the campsite, Cole and Paul turned on the victims, robbing them and beating the 18-year-old brother, ultimately slitting his throat and leaving him to die in the forest. Cole then took the sister, a 21-year-old Eckerd college student, back to the campsite, tying her up and brutally raping her. Despite her trauma, the sister managed to free herself the next day and flagged down a driver for help, leading the police to her brother's lifeless body. Cole and Paul were both arrested and convicted of first-degree murder. While Paul was sentenced to life in prison, Cole's fate was sealed with a death sentence. In the years leading up to his execution, Cole's lawyers attempted to secure a stay of execution, arguing that Cole suffered from mental illness, brain damage, and Parkinson's disease. They also brought up the fact that Cole had been a victim of abuse and rape himself as a teenager while incarcerated at a state-run reform school. Although the state has since apologized for the abuse and passed a law providing reparations to affected inmates, Cole's final appeal was denied by the U.S. Supreme Court. On the day of his execution, Cole was described as compliant by Department of Corrections officials. With two visitors, including his son, Cole spent his final hours in peace. As he was led to the execution chamber, Cole was asked if he had any final words. With a simple "No, sir," his 57-year-old life came to an end at 6:15 p.m. The procedure, which began around 6 p.m., lasted only 15 minutes. Cole took his last breaths as the warden shook him, calling out his name. As the warden declared him dead, a somber silence fell over the room. Loran Cole's execution brings closure to a tragic chapter in the lives of the victims and their loved ones. It also raises questions about the nature of justice and the complexities of human behavior. While some may view capital punishment as a necessary means to an end, others argue that it's a relic of a bygone era. As we grapple with the morality of capital punishment, we must also acknowledge the humanity of those involved, from the perpetrators to the victims. This complex balance highlights the imperfections of the human system, calling upon us to work toward greater compassion, empathy, and justice in the world around us.